The word jungle makes one think of mystery, fear, the unknown, and loads of mosquitoes, probably the size of your hand. Jungles cover 7% of the land on Earth and is home to roughly half of all living creatures on the planet, many of them still to be discovered. Every once in a while, the jungle reveals some of its many secrets, and we have a look at some of them today. Number 16. In hot water. As a small boy, Andre Russo heard a story from his grandfather about how some explorers went off into the Amazonian jungle to try and find the road to El Dorado, but instead found a river that was constantly boiling, and anyone who was unfortunate enough to fall in would never survive the ordeal. Russo grew up to be a geophysicist, and these stories stayed with him all that time. As part of his PhD, Russo drew up Peru's very first geothermal map. Of course, there are boiling lakes around the globe, but they're located close to volcanoes and geothermal hotspots, and Peru doesn't tick either of those boxes. Luckily for him, his aunt knew a bit about this boiling river, and he set off on his journey. Deep in the heart of the jungle, 440 miles away from any volcanoes, he found the boiling river, 82 feet wide, 20 feet deep, and most of the water at boiling point. It's known as Mayantuyacu and is considered sacred by natives. It's believed the water begins its journey at the peaks of the Andes and makes its way through a network of fissures, eventually bubbling out at boiling point. Number 15. Don't drop the ball. It would be exceptionally painful. These prehistoric stone balls were found strewn across the Costa Rican jungle, and there were hundreds of them. It's thought the prehistoric humans constructed them, but how and why would they do that? Some are as large as 8 feet in diameter and almost perfectly round. Many believe they were used for religious reasons, but it's inconclusive at this point. Right now, there are way more questions than there are answers, and we have a feeling it will remain that way, probably till the end of time. Number 14. Double world record. The world's largest and smelliest flower was also found in the jungle. It's called the Rafflesia arnoldi, and no, you can't order these for your ex on Valentine's Day. It's best this flower stays in the jungle where it belongs because firstly, the flower is ginormous, like 3 feet in diameter. Do you have a vase that big? Me either. And then of course, the smell is just horrific. It's actually been compared to rotting flesh. The corpse flower, or so it's called, cleverly attracts the flies which help to pollinate this monster of a plant. Number 13. Hide-and-seek champion. It's thanks to a 13-year-old boy that we've gained further insight to a possible hidden city in the jungles of Mexico. He has learned quite a lot about the Mayan people and their calendar. William Godowry from Quebec, Canada, decided to investigate the Mayans' stargazing ability and deduced that they would have built their cities in line with the constellation overhead. He used images from Google Earth, the Canadian Space Agency, and looked at other settlements and has pinpointed a possible hidden city. No one has been there in person as of yet, as the vegetation is too dense and would be quite costly. However, a satellite has picked up on linear elements in the vicinity that could possibly be a street network. The satellite has also spotted a shape that could potentially be a pyramid. Researchers are hoping his theory could lead to the discovery of more lost cities. Number 12. Caught between a rock and a hard place. Deep in the heart of the Guatemalan jungle, a towering stone head was discovered. The discovery was made during the 50s, and it featured thin lips, a large nose, and it was pointing to the sky. It was confirmed to be that of a Caucasian man, and that's where things get interesting. Anybody from pre-Hispanic civilizations wouldn't have ever seen a Caucasian man, so what's happening here? It was hugely unfortunate to hear that someone actually destroyed the stone head, which also makes you wonder, why on earth would they do that? Are they hiding something? There's a documentary called Revelations of the Mayans 2012 and Beyond, which touches on the stone head and mentioned that it's possible proof that extraterrestrials do exist. Number 11. Snug and Warm. They sure are. These woolly monkeys were found in various jungles, including Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil. They're fabulous looking, but sadly they are very vulnerable. There are only around 250 of them left in the world, with hunting having led to their demise. Number 10. Powertrip. Imagine a plant being able to control the mind of an animal. Sounds too crazy, we know, but that is the case with the cordyceps fungus found in the jungle. The only way that this fungus can get maximum dispersal is to shed its spores from the tops of trees, but sadly, the fungus can't get there. So, this is what happens. It somehow infects ants and takes over their bodies, forcing them to carry the spores to the tops of trees and disperse them. It's not so much as dispersing, but rather the spores burst out of the ants and get filtered down that way. In case you're wondering, the ant does not make it. The fungus then uses their discarded bodies to breed more spawn. Number 9. The eighth wonder of the world, That's what many have described Sigiriya as being. This beautiful site has quite the history, dating back to the 5th century. It was built during the reign of King Kashyapa, who overthrew his father and walled him up alive, although we imagine he probably wasn't alive for too long after that. The brother who was usurped fled to India and built up a huge team of men to take Sigiriya back. When Kashyapa heard that, he set up home elsewhere, leaving Kashyapa to fall to ruin. Mind you, there is way more to the story, but ultimately what you need to know is that it was rediscovered by British troops in 1831 and is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 8. Lost and Found. People have been trying to find the lost city of the monkey god since the 1520s, which tells the tale of such riches that people ate off of solid gold plates, and the person in charge of the city was a powerful monkey god. Theodore Mord claimed to have found this city back in 1939, but before he revealed the supposed location, ended his own time on Earth. Using state-of-the-art technology, the site has actually been discovered, although gold plates were not found. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but they have found other important artifacts. The city is situated in the middle of a valley, surrounded by dense vegetation and mountains. The exact spot hasn't been disclosed, as they're worried that looters will find other treasures or just mess things up, making studying the area an impossibility. Number 7. An explosive find. The Congo Basin has been studied extensively over the years, but recently, scientists have discovered something quite unusual. Buried just below the surface of the soil is one of the biggest carbon sinks in the world. It's even bigger than England, making up 56,000 miles in total. It's estimated there's around 30 billion tons of carbon there, working out to around 20 years of fossil fuel emissions in the US. The area is jam-packed with peat, which is decomposing organic matter. This carbon basin has been in the making for the past 11,000 years. Peat isn't all bad, but in this situation, it can turn ugly. There's water above the peat, which stops decomposition halfway. If, for some weird reason, that water disappears, the peat below it will explode, with devastating effects to the rainforest around it. Number 6. The Great Escape. Ho Van Ton took his chances and, along with his infant son, escaped into the jungle. The pair lived in the jungle for more than 40 years and were eventually discovered, living 25 miles from the nearest village. They were living in a treehouse close to a stream and had made their own tools like arrows, knives, and axes. They even had managed a small sugarcane plantation and made their own fire. They made their own underpants from bark and had forgotten their native tongue. How they communicated, we're not too sure. The father was 80 when he was discovered and was aging quickly. The son, however, was in peak physical condition. The father kept trying to escape the hospital to return to the jungle, but the son has been adjusting nicely. Number 5. Secrets unfolding. The Amazonian jungle has not disappointed, and drones have picked up on something a little bit odd. It looks to be the beginning stages of an Amazonian Stonehenge. There are no stones, but it looks like they were just getting ready for the stones, as everything else is the same as Stonehenge. It's thought the site would have been used for public gatherings or rituals, and it has been confirmed that the site is 2,500 years younger than Stonehenge. Number 4. Going underground. Dr. Damien Evans claims to have discovered entire cities hidden beneath the forests of the jungle. He has traveled from Australia to Cambodia, and using LiDAR to shoot lasers into the ground, they've mapped out massive cities. He did it back in 2012 when he discovered Mahendra Parvata, so we have to be patient to wait for the images to be released. Number 3. Tread carefully. The jungle is brimming with creatures that you'd never like to meet face to face, like this insanely huge spider that was spotted by Peter Nazrecki, an entomologist and photographer who was exploring the jungles of Guyana. It's a Goliath bird-eater spider, and a bite from one of these guys has been described as, quote-unquote, driving a nail through your hand. Number 2. Caveman. You wouldn't mind having been a caveman in the Sundong Cave. Definitely one of the highlights when it comes to jungle discoveries. This expansive cave was found in Vietnam, and inside the cave is another jungle. Also dubbed the Garden of Eden, the Sundong Cave is between 2 and 5 million years old and was discovered in 1991 by a local. It only became known internationally when a group of cavers rediscovered the site in 2009. The cave is 3.1 miles long and 490 feet wide. To go on a tour of this incredible cave will cost you around $3,000. Number 1. Coolest kid in the jungle. It was 1858 when a French explorer made a discovery that was about to change his world. He discovered a lost medieval city in Cambodia tucked away underneath a jungle. The city was Angkor, and it was so huge that it took over 100 years to excavate everything. When excavating was finally done, they discovered a whole new city. It's home to the biggest temple complex in the world and is a must-see if you're ever in Cambodia. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to our channel for more daily videos just like this.